I should have just called this episode Make It Make Sense. I was watching last week's episode and trying to get my mind around some of the things I saw, especially when it came to the conversation between Meri and Janelle. Why was Meri acting as though she didn't understand the dynamics of her family? Why was Meri acting as though she didn't see what Kody and Robin were trying to do? She sat there and said Kody and Robin aren't trying to steal Coyote Pass. Meanwhile, she had a conversation that we all watched where Kody had insisted that he was going to get 4 acres of land, Robin was going to get 4 acres of land, Janelle was going to get 4 acres of land, and Meri was going to get 2 acres of land. When Meri questioned the division, her friend, her comrade, her compatriot, Robin, not only sat there and defended Kody's position and defended her own position in getting as much land as she was getting, and Kody getting as much as he was getting. But when Kody went to explain what his thinking and rationale was for taking the land and getting the land and keeping the land and giving Meri such a small amount, Robin cut him off. So we can't sit here and pretend like Meri doesn't understand these things. Jen, her friend, when they were sitting there watching this, and she heard out of Kody and Robin's mouth about the division of the land, and all of a sudden Jen just went along with it because Jen is fooled too. I'm sure Jen mentioned it to her. So if you have your closest friend, your closest ally, saying that you are getting screwed over, and this isn't she just doesn't trust Janelle thing. This was her friend, I'm sure, said something. So she's presented with the counter idea that Robin and Kody aren't looking out for her. And for her to present herself this way, it just kind of didn't make sense to me. It didn't sit right. Then while I was doing a preparation for this particular video, I was going to go a different way with it. I was looking for a quote or at least a clip from a movie called The Matrix. This was a movie starring Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne. It played, I think, in the 90s, I want to say. And during the course of this film, basically, for those who are uninitiated or unfamiliar, it's essentially a science fiction movie where the AI or computers took over the world and they low-jacked everybody into a computer program. So their reality isn't really a reality. They live in like a fantasy world. And I was going to use that as kind of to explain like Meri's hold on this kind of feeling that, you know, you're kind of living in a fantasy world if you think that these people actually care about you. But then I thought about it. This isn't her living in a fantasy world and Meri not understanding. And then I focused on a particular character. During the course of the film, he was excised from the computer program and now he's a rebel in the real world fighting against the computer program. And he cut a deal so that he could be inserted back into the Matrix, because even though he had lived in the real world, he didn't like it. It's kind of that idea of institutionalization where somebody may have served time in a penitentiary or a prison, and once they get out and they have a certain level of freedom, they're not used to living in the real world. So they look for ways to get back into a place where they feel more comfortable. And that's one of the things that kind of struck me as a possibility as we watch Meri, to explain maybe some of what she's going through. Because as she sat there and she hugged and talked to Christine about her separation, she was very sad. When she talked to Janelle, again, she was very remorseful, talking about, it was 30 years. We watched her during the course of the entire series talking about, even though I put in all this time and it's not working out, things aren't going well, and he's not spending time with me, I don't want to give up on the 30 years. I don't want to abandon my relationship. And we all just discounted it as, Meri's super loyal. And that's just who she is. There's a part of it that we have to accept that maybe she wants to be part of the system. She doesn't know how to exist outside the system, and she's struggling with that. And it's not so much that she broke free and she got out and she's okay with being out by herself. It's the real reality is, if we're going to call it what it is, she's no longer in the system because Kody no longer wanted her in the system. Kody booted her out of the system. She didn't wake up one day and decided she wanted to leave. She was kicked out. And there's a very subtle difference. And for those who will make the argument that she went to the church and asked for the release, yeah, she did go to the church and ask for the release. But I would ask you this, and this is just, again, this isn't a theory. This is just merely a question. If she goes to the church and asks for a release, will that get Kody's attention? And when she had the church say that Kody had abandoned her, she knew that that would have an effect on Kody because she knows Kody and she knows how he feels about things and he doesn't want to be seen as a person who gave up or abandoned his family. So that would be a way, if we're going to be honest, that would be a way for her to get Kody's attention, for her to embarrass Kody into taking her back or at least reconsidering her and bringing her back into the family, into the fold so that he can maintain his standing within the church. Even though they're not members of the church anymore and he's against the church and so on and so forth, he still doesn't like the stain of being called a certain thing, which is a man who abandoned his family. And this is kind of where we all kind of fell in. I was even one of those people. I hope Christine and Janelle go and get the get the release too, because I know it hurt Kody's feelings. But there is a possibility that if Christine and Janelle go get the release, they're doing it for one reason, whereas Meri was doing it for another reason. This is in tandem with why did Meri make it a big announcement that she's leaving Arizona and she's going back to Utah? Isn't there a possibility, dare I say, that what she was hoping for was that Kody would come to his senses in the reality that he was losing another wife and say, no, Meri, please don't go to Utah. Stay here in Arizona so we could work it out. Hoping against hope that that would be his response. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, James, where did you get all this from? I got it. And what kind of sparked me into thinking about it was where in this last episode, Meri said this to Janelle.
I don't think that there's really any need for protection. Don't you think that we have each other's backs as far as that goes?
No.
I don't think there's any need for protection. So she should trust Kody. She should trust Robin. And it occurred to me that as she was doing this, that she may not be welcomed back into the family by herself. So you bring something that Kody, the patriarch, wants. The patriarch wants Janelle back in the family. If Meri can secure Janelle's return, does that give her a way back into the family? Again, not a theory, a question. When we talk about Meri in the past, Meri has done this in the past. How do we know? When they got to Arizona, there was a point where Christine started getting tired of being there with Kody and trying to make it work with Kody because she wanted to move back to Utah. Kody shot her down, or actually he set her up to get shot down by the family the most cruel way possible. Christine, frustrated, starts crying. Meri calls her over and wants to talk to her. Christine reveals at that time, I can't do this. I can't be married to Kody anymore. I can't keep doing this. What did Meri say?
Meri, I can't do marriage with Kody anymore. I don't want to.
Just look at the mountain.
I don't want to do it anymore.
You didn't put 30 years into this, 25, 28, wherever you are, to walk away. I didn't put 30 years in to walk away.
This was a way she was trying to soothe Christine, to calm her down so that she would go back to sleep. She could be reintroduced back into the matrix. And this is where I'm kind of at. So I want to present this as a theory, but I'm not sure I can necessarily say it's a theory as much as it is a question. Is this a viable thing? Well, we need another example. There was a point where anybody I talked to who saw season 17, where Kody jumped up and was yelling at Christine on the porch, and he did the whole, knife in the kidneys routine where he told Christine he had to struggle to love her and everything else, and it was hard, and he didn't really like her and care about her, and he said all kinds of nasty and terrible things. I was asked to stop showing the clip because people were so offended and so triggered by watching that, because in their eyes, they thought that was the most abusive thing possible. That was the most abusive thing possible. And Kody got up and he did that to her publicly. And if he did that publicly, what is he doing to him in private? And then once this all happened, Meri gave a couch confession where she said this.
It's emotion.
This is not just emotions. That response from Kody was not just emotion. that response from Cody was real. And he said some things he probably has been holding in for a long time. I'm glad he said it.
I'm glad he said it. I'm glad he embarrassed Christine. Why is that a bad thing? How dare she think she can leave? This is also part of the competition that Meri is in. The conflict that Meri has is because Meri had to sit there and watch Cody fight and cry and complain about Christine leaving. And then she had to sit there through him fighting and complaining and crying about Janelle leaving. And then when she tells Cody that she wants to go, Cody says, well, let me get the door for you. Am I wrong to think that part of Meri is institutionalized? Not that she wants it or she desires it. It's just that she accepts that this is the condition of her situation when she gets reintroduced back into the matrix, back into this cycle of mistreatment in this type of relationship by being in that relationship with Cody. So I'm going to be tied to Cody, and I understand that there's some things that come along with me being tied to Cody. And I'm willing to deal with those things, but my primary objective is to be back in a relationship with Cody, back in with the family. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm kind of curious. Again, this isn't necessarily me pushing this as a theory. It's me asking the question, is Meri trying to soothe Janelle? Is Meri trying to make Janelle feel okay about how Cody treated her and bring, healing or reconciliation to Janelle so that she can get back into the family? Is this Meri's way of, I guess ultimately, is Janelle Meri's sacrificial lamb so that she can be reintroduced back into the Brown family, reintroduced into the Matrix? All right, let me know what you guys think down below. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die.